Hello, welcome to my new show, You Throughout the Years. Here we will have conversations with ordinary persons like you and me. Everyone has a story, either good or bad, funny or sad. So come and reminisce with us as we find out how these years have shaped our lives. And I have a special guest, Luciana, and she's here and we are going to talk about her life and what she's doing currently. So, Luciana, can you introduce yourself to us?
Hi, you all. How are you guys doing? I'm Luciana. I am Brazilian. I'm 37 years old. I'm currently living in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I was born with a genetic dysfunction called Turner syndrome. So what Turner syndrome consists of is the total lack or partial lack of the second chromosome X. So instead of being born as an XX, like a normal woman, or an XY, like a normal man, I was born X0.
So we've heard about her disability, so we'll learn a bit more about that later. So right now, I'm going to ask you the number one question. What is the earliest age you can remember?
The earliest age that I can remember. Well, that's a tough question. I wasn't prepared for these tough questions. I want to say that I think I remember back until when I was 4 years old.
Oh, okay.
I want to say that.
Oh, so did your family, your parents, tell you when you started to walk or talk? At what age?
So if I am not mistaken, I started walking and talking when I was around a year and a half, I want to say.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone, it seems to be walking around that age. Yeah, and talking. Yeah. Okay. So now we're going through your childhood. That will
Right.
be like safe and toddler age to about 11. What was your attitude? Were you a naughty child or a easy child to deal with?
I think I want to say that I was a naughty child. I think I was a very difficult child to deal with, I think.
Okay. And that is your parents and family telling you that you was naughty, or you yourself know that you were naughty?
I think that's my perception. I think the perception of my father and my mother is that when I was a toddler, I would cry a lot, especially when I learned that I was going to have a brother. Because I learned that I was going to have a brother when I was 2 years old. So apparently when I discovered that, I started crying, I started calling for attention. So I think I started becoming a little bit difficult by that time.
Oh, so that will go into this question. Do you have siblings?
Yes, I do. It's me, myself, my brother, and my sister.
Okay. And did you enjoy having siblings?
Um, I had a rough start with my brother. My brother and I was very jealous of my brother when he was born because he had all the attention. I needed all the attention. So I started becoming a little bit of a drama queen and whatnot. And then when
Mm.
I got older, of course, I started to know better. I started to learn better. And then things went very smoothly. Then when my sister was born, no, things were completely different. We are 9 years apart, so I'm 9 years older than my sister. So it was a different relationship. So when my sister was born, it was a whole different thing. It was very nice.
Oh, you were wiser then. You became wiser. Yeah.
I was 9 years old. So
So when did your um relationship with your brother um got better?
I think my relationship with my brother started to get better around 4, 5, 6 years old. I think around those ages, things got a little bit better.
Okay. Yes, I can understand that jealousy. Um, when you have siblings coming after you because you had all of the attention. So, you know, everything was you. So I can understand. It's not jealousy to say you want them to go forever, but you still want the attention to be on you.
Exactly.
Yes. So I can understand that.
I want my mommy. I want my daddy. They're mine, right? So
Yes, yes, yours. How was school for you and life in general as Luciana was growing up?
okay. So school. Um, as I told you, I'm Brazilian, right? So I started to read, write, and speak in Portuguese.
Mm.
Then, when I became 4 years old, my father was admitted in a PhD back in the United States. So we all had to go there. And my dad made that decision to accept and to do the application of this PhD back in the United States because of me. Because we knew that we needed to start my treatment, my hormone treatment. And back in Brazil, we're speaking about the 1980s. I'm going to be 38 years old in September of this year, right? So then I saw myself in a school where I didn't know the language, where I didn't know anything, and I needed to learn a new language. I needed to start knowing English, to read, write, do everything in English. So basically, school for me was horrible, terrible. I was never good at school.
Mm.
I never liked school. I was always bullied at school. I didn't have much friends throughout my schooling years. Due to the Turner syndrome, I had a couple of issues at school due to memory, due to spatial orientation, due to mathematical thinking. I'm not good at mathematical thinkings and whatnot. So it was actually very hard to me, school.
Mm.
From kindergarten to high school, right? It was very, very hard.
Oh, I could. Okay, I can understand. The just being slightly different, you know. Children are not really accept. about difference, but we know and we work towards teaching everyone to accept everyone in their be how they look, how they talk, So I'm sorry you had to go through that,
No.
but it makes us stronger.
It
Right.
does. It
Right.
does.
So school was torture for you can say, because
Yes.
of the difference and because you could not easily speak English. Yes, I can understand. Okay, so how was it like in Brazil?
Um, so when I went back to Brazil, I was 8 years old,
Mhm.
right? Um, then I had to go back to Portuguese, right? So I already adapted myself with English. I was doing everything in English. Then suddenly I had to do everything in Portuguese. So it was another adaptation. So what my father and my mother did, they put me and my brother in a bilingual school,
Mhm.
right? So that we can little by little transition from the English back to the Portuguese, right?
Okay.
So that's what happened back in Brazil. It was school was still a torture.
Okay.
It was still hard to adapt back to Portuguese again, and then adolescence came, and then everything came. So it was yeah, it was not easy either back in Brazil.
Okay. So we will go into your early teenage years, and that
Mhm.
is from 12 pre-teen to 16, your early teenage years. It is like com- confusing times. This time you said was the hormones will be coming, but how was it different with you and changing to your teenage years?
Okay, so a couple of things happened in my teen years. Um, as I said, I started my treatment back when I was 4, and I was supposed to have my treatment, my hormone treatment, until I was 16, right? So when I speak about hormone treatment, I speak about the hormone growth treatment, right? Because Turner syndrome, they have problems producing hormones, and the most problematic hormones that we have to deal with is the growth hormones, meaning the hormones that give you height, right? So I had to take it until I was 16. So when I turned 12 years old, things started to change because before I was dependent on my mother or on my father to give me the hormone treatment, because it was still back old school, where you had to mix the liquid hormones with the solid hormones and then inject the hormones and whatnot. But when I became 12 years old, they invented a pen, and that pen still exists today. So it gave me complete and absolutely autonomy to,
Mm-hmm.
to, to break the hormones for me. So that was a big change in my life. That um, the doctors started saying that I needed then to start to take the estrogen and the progesterone hormones so that I can start becoming a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother didn't want that, because once I became a woman, that would mean that the growth hormone wouldn't be that effective. So it would affect my height. So my mother was against it. She didn't want me to take it, but she had to at some point cave in with the doctors. So we started that. So my body started changing. I started becoming a little woman and whatnot. And then at the age of 16, I had to stop the growth hormones and still continue until the day with the progesterone and the estrogen hormones. So what happens, and nobody told me, nobody told my mother, is that probably maybe the estrogen and the progesterone would make you gain weight, would make your body change in ways that that I wasn't expecting, right? So when I was taking the growth hormone, the weight was under control because the growth hormones, I don't know the science behind it, but you can control a little bit the weight. But once I got off that, I started becoming a little bit big, a little bit chubby. And then the bullying got worse, right, at school, because now I was small, I was chubby, I was different. So yeah, so that was my early teenage years, was a little bit about that.
As a child growing up and going through all these things, they will play on your mind, and you will, I can understand, you will be sad or even depressed. You might not even want to be around society. How did you deal with all your health problems? How did your family deal with your health problems?
So I have a mild Turner syndrome case, if you want to say that way. So my family at the beginning, when I was born in 1983, the doctor said that I only had 15 days of life because they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know that I had Turner syndrome. They told my mother and my father that I had another thing. And so at the beginning, my mother and my father dealt with my Turner syndrome very, I'm not going to say badly, because they never did that, but it was rough on them at the beginning. But then when they saw me growing up as a normal person, they didn't even care much about that. They were always supportive. I always had the treatment that I needed to have at the time that I needed to have. They were very supportive. I didn't mention this, but Turner syndrome, you can't have children, right? So my mother, since I was very young, she would work on that with me. She would work on what are the roles of woman, and et cetera, that it's okay to be a different woman that can't have children, that I only cannot have biological children, but if I want to be a mother, I can, because I can adopt, and this and that. So she would always talk to me about that, right? She and my father, she would deal with the situation. I'm okay because they weren't the situation, right? I was the situation, and with the bullying and everything back at school. So I was the one not dealing well, not with the syndrome, because the syndrome for me, I was born with it, right? So I've always had in mind that this is something that I have to deal with, because it's not going to go away. So I better be a Turner syndrome friend than a Turner syndrome enemy, right? So I took that decision very early on in life. I knew that I couldn't escape that situation, but the anxiety, the depression, the not wanting to be around people, was due to the bullying back at school, and was due to my physical appearance, right? So the physical appearance was the problem, not the Turner syndrome and the health issues related to it per se. It was my appearance that was a problem, and was becoming a problem throughout my teen years, because, as I said, I started getting a little bit chubby and this and that. So I changed physically, right, basically.
Well, I am so happy that your parents, the main persons in your life, was there as the support that you need. That is what we all need as children, our parents being in our corner and pushing for us. So that is a very good thing to hear. I encourage you parents to be there for your children, especially with children who might look different, with children who might sound different. They are going to have tough times because people do not understand, and they sometimes do not want to understand. But if their parents are especially in their corner, helping and supporting them, then life will be easier for them. Now we are going in the later part of your teens and going into your 20s. That's 17 going up. So in this time, as a teenager, you know, sometimes you will meet the opposite sex, and you will know, you will like to, you start to feel feelings, you know, and liking a boy. Did this happen to you, or you were only focused on education?
So that happened to me. Boys started happening in my life. Yes. I started understanding that I was about to leave school, right? I was about to go into university. So things were getting better little by little because of that. I got into, I don't know how many diets in my life I did. So I would oscillate in weight a lot. But the weight wasn't a problem anymore, because I was little by little realizing that the school was about to end. So everything was going to end, the bullying, everything was going to end. So I got into university, and those were the best days of my life ever and ever and ever and ever. So I didn't get into university in the course that I originally wanted. I originally wanted to do journalism. I didn't get in journalism school. So my mother said, yeah, you know what? Probably that's not for you. Probably there's another thing for you. And I think education would be something that would be good for you. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want that. And she's like, yeah, but I think you should try. And I'm like, well, okay, so I'm going to try education. I got in education, and it was love at first sight. I loved the courses. I loved everything. Education is my life. It was just amazing. I immediately started losing weight, because you know that weight can also be psychological as well.
Okay.
So I wasn't paying attention to my physical appearance, to my weight. I was paying attention to the life that I was living, which was a different life at university, where people were adults and people wouldn't care about anything that people would care about when they were at school. So I wasn't bullied anymore. I wasn't this, I wasn't that. I got a scholarship to participate in a research group. I got internships. I got things. So it was just amazing. And with all of that, with the energy change, with the change that I had when I got into university, it started attracting boys, right? So the first boyfriends come in, and we start talking to boys, and things go well, and we get into relationships. And that was basically my you said 17 until the early 20s,
20,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the
So
early 20s, yeah.
yeah, that I got an exchange program to go study at a university back in Europe, and I got a scholarship to study at a university back in Portugal, more specifically the University of Coimbra, one of the very good universities that they have there back in Portugal. So I had that experience to going alone abroad. So yeah, it was
Yes,
different.
going to a new environment. You were so comfortable that external factors were never a problem to you. So sometimes that's all we need, a change in environment. So, and you doing finding your true calling, education. Sometimes others see what we are supposed to do before us, right? So your mother, being so wise, tell you to get into education, and look at what it has produced. You love it, and you excel in it. So yeah, sometimes our parents know better than us. Sometimes, yeah. So I'm happy that school, your in the latter years, was so fulfilling for you.
Yes, it was.
You're going later 20s,
Okay.
going into your 30s. Um,
Hey.
what type of changes happen to you or in your life? Did you have to make some decisions that would change your life forever? And did you meet any person who influenced you in a positive way?
So, um, so I ended school. I ended undergrad school when I was 20 to 21. I finished exactly when I came back from Portugal. I came back from Portugal. I had a year left at school. I finished that. Then I came to Canada. And I came to Canada because Dad had to come to Canada to work. They sent Dad to work. His company back in Brazil sent him to work here in Canada. So we all came to Canada. When I got here in Canada, it wasn't here in Montreal. It was in another province. It was in an Anglophone province, Alberta, and more specifically the city of Calgary. So I went to Calgary, and I knew that I wasn't going to stay in Canada because I wanted to do my master's degree, right? And then I wanted to do my PhD, and I wanted to do it. And I knew that I wasn't going to do it here in Canada. So I started the whole couple of months that I spent here in Canada with my family was looking and applying for masters back in Europe, to go back to Europe, because I liked the experience that I lived back in Europe when I was at the exchange program when I was in Portugal. So I got in a university in Madrid and Spain. So I stayed from January until September in Calgary, went to Spain, and that was the life-changing decision that you were talking about. It was most definitely that one, because my life changed completely once I got to Madrid. It was insane. It was amazing. It was the most fun after my undergrad years that I have had. I was in my master's. Things that changed on me was my confidence, right? Now I was in alone again in another different environment with another language that I had to learn that I didn't know. So it was exciting. It was amazing. I got scholarships. I got work. I got to meet lots of people that influenced me back in Madrid. Most definitely were the friends that I made there. I had lots of friends, being them Brazilians, being them Latin American, being them from other countries as well. When I was in my master's, we had several people there. So yeah, it was most definitely life changing. I turned 30 years old here in Montreal. So I finished my master's. I started doing a PhD in Spain. That didn't go well at all. I didn't have participants. I didn't have anything. It was a complete mess. And it was the moment that I said, you know what, probably maybe the time that I spent here in Spain is ending. And it actually ended, because then my father called me and said, you know what, Luciana, we got all the immigration papers to stay here in Canada and become a permanent resident. Are you coming back to Canada? And I'm like, you know what? Yes, I'm going back to Canada. So I came back to Canada. I lived in Toronto with my sister a couple of months. Then I came to Montreal because I was going to open a company. I wanted to open a company here. I want to open a clothing company, right? So I came to Montreal, and everything happened here in Montreal, but opening my clothing company. It was the only thing that I didn't do.
That is surprising, because what you went to school for and came back and just did a 180 clothes. So how did that come up in your mind?
So I always struggled with clothing, right? Because again, as I said, I'm very short. And people with Turner syndrome, they have very narrow shoulder, very short arms, and very short legs. So every time that I buy a jacket, a coat, or just a simple blouse, I can't wear it well, because I have to adjust the clothing. I have to adjust the pants. And I was a bit bored about that. And I was like, I don't want that. I want to open a clothing company where I can produce clothes for people like me that have difficulty with clothing. And that was the idea, right? I always loved Coco Chanel. So I was like, okay, so Montreal is French, right? So I'm like, the closest that I can get to Europe and the closest that I can get to Coco Chanel is here in Montreal. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna come here. So I came here and to do that. And that didn't happen for several reasons because, because of what you just said, right? I didn't study for that, right? I didn't know anything about that. It was crazy, right? I couldn't do that, right? So I said, you know what? Yeah, that's not going to happen because I just simply don't have the credentials for that. This is too big for me. I think I'm going to have to like put that aside for a bit. So I started working as an English teacher here, giving classes here and there. That's how I survived a little bit until, well, I met my husband here. So Montreal for me is very dear to my heart because of that, right? Because it was a very crucial moment in my life as well. So my husband did the role of my mother back when I was 20. My husband went like, you know what, girl, you're going to have to go back and study because that's who you are. That's what you do. You're going to go and try to do a PhD. And I'm like, yeah, you're crazy. I'm not going to do that. And he's like, yes, you're going to do that because you're going to go for it because that's what you were meant to do. I know you're going to do it. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. And I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to do that. So I got in my PhD. I'm doing my PhD until now. So that's another turning point in my life. That's another big decision that I took in my life. It was my PhD now, my PhD experience now is completely different than the PhD experience that I had when I was 25, 26 years old. Completely different. And I'm just enjoying life. I'm good. I'm good.
Yes, you have to go through something sometimes to find yourself, especially as a woman in your 30s. We are supposed to know ourselves. You know, we know what direction we want to go in. Sometimes we need someone there to push us along the path, but thing and your husband was there to direct you or support you. So tell us a bit about your husband. How did you meet him, and how did you get married?
Okay. So I met my husband here in Montreal at a hostel. Because when I came to Montreal, I didn't have a place, like as an apartment to stay in, right? I decided that I was going to be in a hostel or in a hotel first so that I can look for apartments after. He was here because he was in an exchange program from his university here to study a master's degree. So that's why he was in the hostel, because apparently he was just going to stay a couple of months. But then he met me. He decided that he was going to stay here, so he stayed here. And we're together since then, since we met in the hostel, and we're here and we're good. I guess that's, in summary, that's it. We met at the hostel for completely different reasons. I was gonna live here, so he decided to stay here because of me. So we stayed here. He stayed here. We're together since then. You were speaking about marriage, right? How we got married and whatnot. We didn't have a ceremony. We didn't have a party. We didn't have anything, because that's what we decided to do. We just started living together, and we became common law partners. And that's basically it. We decided that we wanted to be together. We wanted to live together. We are considered here in Canada through law as a married couple, as a person, a conjoint that they say here, people that are legally together. That's what matter for us, and we're living life. We're good. We're here.
Okay, he is your best friend. Right now, we will go into a game, just a little question and answer game. And I try to find games that suit the guests. So about five or six questions. Number one, would you rather lose all of your money or all of your pictures?
Ooh. Why are you so tough on me? Let me see. I'm gonna say the money. I'm gonna say the
Money?
money. Yeah, I would rather lose the money than the photos, most definitely.
Your pictures are that important. Pictures are
I mean, they tell a life story, right? They tell a story, right? So,
okay. For me, pictures. I I will say that pictures because I put the picture as a feeling. So the feeling I remember. I might not remember the picture, but the feeling I would remember. So I can lose all my pictures.
okay, fair enough.
Right. So
I think they're
now,
story. I think they tell a life story. I think if I lose
yeah,
my story, if I lose who I am, I lose everything. So,
okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Number two. Would you rather explore outer space or the bottom of the ocean?
outer space.
Why?
Why? Mm, because I need to know what the universe is about, right? I, I need to make sense of my existence.
Okay.
I need to make sense if there is other things, another a part of Earth, right? I need
Okay.
to explore because Earth I have already explored. I know what it is, right? I know that is what it is, but I'm always looking for new challenges, new learnings, um, new adventures. So I think the bottom of the ocean. I live in Brazil. I'm from Rio de Janeiro, so the ocean saw it every single day of my life. So but the outer space, I've never seen it. I don't know what it is. I don't understand it. Uh, and I'm curious. I need to know other things. I need to know what is going on out of here, out of the earth.
Okay. Well, I said space because I hate the sea. Although I'm surrounded in the Caribbean, I'm surrounded by the ocean. I hate the ocean. I do not like
Why
this.
don't you like the sea?
It, well, yes, the space do not have a back door, but the sea do not have a back door either. And I have a thing with drowning.
Oh,
Each place you could lose oxygen, but I still will visit outer space. And for me, I will feel closer to God.
That's good. That's
So,
interesting.
right. Number 3. If your pet and he or she could talk, what do you think it will say?
Stop hugging me. I think
Oh,
he or
okay.
she would say that. I don't have a pet. I
Mm-hmm.
had in the past. I had a dog, and I remember that when I had a dog, the only thing that I could do is squeeze it, kiss it, and so I think probably maybe if the dog would speak, he would say, you know what, just stop hugging me, stop squashing me. It's too much, I think.
Well, yes, I have pets and thing. I'm not really that type of touchy feeling. I will, I'll pat you, I'll scratch the ear, the belly, and I only love dogs. Thing, but if my it was say I want more attention. Yeah,
Ah,
yes, because I'm not that type. I will play with a dog, but for like 5 minutes and then go. So maybe he will say, yeah, I want more attention. Yeah. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
a superpower. I think it would be regeneration. I think I would
Hmm?
like to regenerate myself. I think I would like to, I don't know, if I have, if I break a leg, if I break an arm, I would want to be able to regenerate it. If I lose an arm, if I lose a leg, I want be able to build a new arm, build a new leg. I want to regenerate, I think.
That is a real good superpower. Yeah.
What about
Um.
you?
hmm, I like that. I like that. Yeah. And I mean you don't have to go to the hospital for anything. Yeah. That is a good superpower. Well, for me, I always wanted to fly.
Fly.
Always.
Why?
Always. I I am jealous of birds. Birds that can
Oh,
fly. I'm always jealous. I just the sky to me is freedom. So I always wanted to fly high in the sky and just enjoy the view from that angle. And the last question is, if you were
okay.
invisible for a day, what would you do?
If I were invisible for one day, what would I do? I think I would want to. I think I would want to see how television work from the inside. I think I
Mm.
want to go to a television station or whatever you channel, whatever you call it. And I think I would want to go to the government. I think I would want to go spend a day with the president or the woman president and see the backstage of how this person is running the country. I think I want to know the engines behind of everything that is going on and check for myself if what I am hearing in the news or reading in the news is correct or not, so that I can have a
Mm.
better opinion on what I am reading or hearing or seeing or whatever. I want to have a better opinion and I don't know if a better opinion, but a more concrete
Mhm.
opinion on the government.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, and that is a good thing to do. Um, when you're invisible, yes, so no one can detect you. So,
No.
yes. Well, for me, it's not so life changing, but for me, I would like to be naked and walk around the place
That's a good.
because I love being naked. But you, of course, you cannot go to town. You can't go anywhere naked,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So yes,
probably.
I would like to walk and talk with people, and I'm in my birthday suit, but you never knew, right? So yeah, I like to, yes, that freedom. The whole thing is just being free, right? Because I do not like clothes.
I
Um,
hear you.
yeah. So some questions make you think, really think. Yeah,
Most definitely, I had to think. Yeah.
right. If you want to share a embarrassing moment, it could be a funny moment as well.
An embarrassing moment of my life. There's too many, I think. I can't
Yes.
think of just, I can't, um, let me see, an embarrassing, a really embarrassing moment. I think, for instance, it's probably not an exciting, embarrassing moment, but it's just that due to all the languages that I speak, sometimes I think I'm speaking one language, but I'm not.
Mm.
So when I was interviewing participants for my doctoral thesis, that would happen a lot. I would speak to that person in Portuguese,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that I was speaking in English, but I was not. And I was like, but yeah, I'm saying this. Don't you get me? And the person kind enough and go like, yeah, the problem is that you're not speaking English. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm not speaking English, I'm speaking Portuguese. Things like that. Things like having lipstick on my teeth. Things like forgetting birthdays. Things like forgetting papers at home where I shouldn't, being in a meeting that I shouldn't be, entering a room that I shouldn't enter, just things along those lines.
Yeah, it's yes, it's embarrassing, but it's like
Yeah, it is what it is. I think in Portuguese, I think that's what's happened. There's sometimes that I'm thinking in my head in Portuguese. So then when I speak, it's Portuguese. It's not
mm-hmm.
English. And I think I'm speaking English. I really think that I'm speaking English, but I'm not. I'm speaking Portuguese because as I don't have to translate, because I know exactly what I want to say in Portuguese and English and Spanish. So for me it makes sense. So I'm like telling you, and the person goes like, yeah, that's
well,
not my language. That's your
well,
language, but
well. Right now, I could tell you, you're using English.
well,
Now we at the end of, well, not at the end because your life is still going and you are in your 30s. As you say, you're 37.
yes.
You're married. You're doing school. Um, what else do you see yourself doing in the future, and what do you want in the future?
I'm very ambitious. So I want several things. Well, first of all, finish the PhD. That's the immediate objective in my life, to be able to finish. Maybe apply for a postdoctorate degree. Continue with my because I want to open a company, an online company, a consulting online company, right? So I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to influence society in a better way, like as in creating policies, I don't know, laws or anything that I can for us, people with disabilities. So I want to continue advocating and working for to buy from people with disabilities. So I want to continue to do that, but in a more influential way, so that I can really change and make the lives of people with disability better and better and better and better. So I want to do that.
And I know that you will succeed in it, because I can hear your drive, your genuine willingness to better everyone's life. So I know you will get it done. So is there anything that you want the viewers to know about you?
I just simply want people to be healthy and safe. That's it.
And that is the best thing in life. Luciana, I am so grateful that you agreed to give me a piece of your time and do this chat with me, and to share your life growing up and how you navigate your life to encourage persons with disabilities to pursue whatever they want. Watch or listen to Luciana's story and be encouraged.
So I thank you, Rochelle, for everything. I am the one that should be, well, I'm the one that I'm going to say this to you. I am the one that is blessed and grateful that I was able to meet you, that I was able to hear your invitation to participate in this channel, to be able to be here. I hope that people that are listening to us that have disability or do not have disability find inspiration, and in our conversation. I think you are a strong, outstanding, amazing woman. I think people can, your followers, your viewers, most definitely can learn more and more and more and more and more with you, about you, seeing your channel. So I just want that to happen. So that's why I'm going to send the link that you send me of your YouTube channel to the people that I know, right? So that we can get more views and views, because it's worth getting into your channel and knowing you and knowing the stories of the people that you invite, and it's just worth it. You're going to learn a lot if you do that. You're going to be inspired, as you said. If it's just one thing, I'm 100% sure that you're going to be inspired by. And again, just stay safe, just stay healthy, just stay living life. I know it's tough, I know it's hard, but it's life, right? We're alive, we're here, we're able to be here exchanging. You're in Barbados and here in Montreal, even though we're exchanging, we're here. We're having such a fun, light Sunday morning, just
Yeah.
speaking and having fun and chatting and whatnot. So life is worth living, is worth being here, it's worth everything. So just remember that, people that are watching, and I just wish you and your channel all the best. I hope that you can grow and grow and grow and grow and grow this channel, because this channel is amazing. And thank you immensely for your generosity, for your politeness, and everything.
Well, thank you very much. All of that compliment I don't take easy, but I thank you. Thank you a lot, a lot. So you have heard about Luciana and her life, and I hope that you enjoy it as much as me, or even more than me. So remember to share, like, and comment, and say hello to Luciana. And come back again next week for another guest and their story on You Throughout the Years. Till then, bye-bye.